You are in my seat. That is how it started, not with turbulence or an emergency, but with a single sentence that cut through the hum of a midnight flight. My wife Lena did not lift her head from the window. She just said quietly, 12A. That is what my ticket says. The woman standing in the aisle, early 40s, glossy hair, expensive athleisure screaming fake humility, smiled like she had been waiting for that reply. No, honey. My ticket says 12A. She flashed her phone, the screen glowing under the cabin lights. I glanced. It clearly read 14C. She was not confused. She was filming. The camera lens was tilted just right. Not for clarity, but for drama. She wanted an audience, and she was about to get one. Lena exhaled, the kind of sigh that meant, not again. She had run airfield operations for a decade, dealt with pilots, union strikes, weather chaos. She could dismantle a man's ego with one polite sentence. This is not about a seat, I murmured, more to myself. This is about control. The woman leaned closer. I get claustrophobic, she declared. Too loud for the cabin. I need the window. You will find one, Lena said evenly, in 14C. That is when the first phones came out. Rows 11 through 13 were suddenly amateur journalists. The red eye to JFK was now live entertainment. The flight attendant arrived, young, patient, and painfully diplomatic. Ma'am, let's see your boarding pass. The woman, Karen, I would later learn, produced it with the flourish of a magician revealing her next trick. Ben, the attendant, read it once. 14C, he said, his voice professional, calm. This is unacceptable, she snapped. I am a platinum medallion elite flyer. I was promised an upgrade. Her hand waved a cup of coffee dangerously close to my arm. I know that cup. $9 kiosk brew. Burnt beans, boiling water. I approved their lease last quarter. Lena turned her head slowly, one eyebrow raised. You are not upgraded. You are just loud. That did it. The spark met the fuel. Karen's smirk flickered into something sharper. Then, a flick of her wrist. The lid popped off. A wave of scalding coffee arced through the air and hit Lena full on the arm and lap. Lena gasped. Not from pain, from disbelief. You do not expect to get attacked in 12A. The cabin went silent. The hum of the engines became a roar in my skull. Karen's face twisted into faux horror. Oh my God, I am so sorry. It slipped. Her phone was still rolling. A microsecond flash of a smile, the predator confirming her kill. I did not move, did not shout, did not blink. Lena was breathing slow, composed, the burn already turning pink under the water Ben poured from a bottle. She did not cry. She calculated. That is what we both did. She met my eyes. Calm. Steel. I nodded once. I have got this. Her lips twitched. I know. Karen, still filming, began her performance. I was assaulted, she shrieked. They are attacking me because I asked for my seat. Across the aisle, a construction worker muttered, Lady, we all saw you throw it. She spun her phone toward him. You are all witnesses. She wanted viral content. She just did not realize she had spilled it on the wrong couple. That is when a man in plain clothes stood from the front row. He did not speak at first, did not need to. Every part of him screamed authority. The badge around his neck caught the cabin light. Ma'am, he said, voice calm, even. I am a federal air marshal. I am going to need your phone. Karen laughed. You cannot do that. This is evidence. He smiled slightly. Exactly. Evidence of your assault. Chain of custody starts now. Her jaw dropped. The audience she wanted was now watching her lose the plot. He held out a hand, patient, easy way or hard way. She handed it over. He cuffed her with zip ties and guided her down the aisle, voice still soft. Seat 30E is open. You will wait there until landing. She sputtered. You cannot. This is illegal. He did not even turn around. Everything about this flight was legal until you made it otherwise. I leaned closer to Lena. You okay? She gave the faintest smile. For someone claustrophobic, she seems eager to spend time in a very small room. That was Lena. Elegance and fire in one sentence. The perfect counterbalance to my quiet rage. But something in me shifted. Not anger. Precision. I had spent years designing systems where chaos had no home. And tonight, chaos had a name. Karen Julian. The captain came on the intercom, his voice smooth, steady. Folks, we have had a small disturbance. Situation under control. We will continue to JFK without delay. Translation. Sit down, shut up, and pretend this did not happen. But the damage was done. Phones stayed up. Whispers spread like static. The man in the polo leaned over, whispering, "Got it all in 4K. Good." Data is always the beginning of order. Ben crouched by Lena again. "Mrs. Billings, I am so sorry. We will make this right. We have upgraded you both for your connection, full refund, everything." He meant well. He just did not know who he was talking to. Because this was not about refunds. This was about principle. I glanced toward a family with 2 little kids. One of them had coffee splashed across his dinosaur pajamas, eyes wide, lower lip trembling. "Give them our upgrades," I said quietly. "They need it more than we do." Ben blinked, then smiled. "Yes, sir." He did not realize that small act was step 1 in a much bigger plan. In aviation, every move matters. Every pattern has purpose. While Lena rested, I opened my phone. "No Wi-Fi?" "No problem. Satellite uplink." It rang twice before a gravelly voice answered. "Ethan, it is 3 in the morning. This better not be about the Denver baggage system." "Not this time, Dan," I said. "We have got an incident. Passenger assaulted Lena mid-flight. Name, Karen Julian." Silence. Then, "Is she okay? She is tougher than she looks." Then, "Tell me what you need." Dan, Uncle Dan, Ortega, head of security for all 62 airports I own. Former FBI. He had seen things, but nothing prepared him for this. "I want full coordination at JFK," I said. "Port Authority waiting at the gate. PR on standby. Every passenger gets a statement form and free vouchers. And pull every second of CCTV from gate to jet bridge." "Copy," he said. And, "Ethan, do not do anything stupid until we are on the ground." I smiled faintly. No promises. Outside, the stars blurred into streaks as we cut across the continent. The hum of the engines steadied my pulse. She thought this was over when we landed. She thought this was her show, but the curtain had not even risen yet. When the wheels touched down at JFK, the captain's voice returned. "Medical and law enforcement will meet us at the gate. Please remain seated." The seatbelt chime dinged. No one moved. Everyone was waiting for the sequel. The air marshal stood by the back, Karen still cuffed, still ranting, still performing. 2 Port Authority officers boarded. Calm. Unimpressed. "Ma'am, please step forward." She did, her second phone now live streaming again. This is what they do to a woman who speaks up. Corporate America silencing victims. The comments would love that. Until they saw the replay. As she passed our row, she hissed, "You will pay for this. I will own this airline." I did not even blink, just looked her dead in the eye. "You cannot own what I already built." We disembarked last. My PR lead, Anna, waited at the gate, quiet, efficient, already moving witnesses to a lounge for statements and refreshments. Narrative control starts with compassion. Outside, 2 officers were still with Karen. Her second phone sat sealed in an evidence bag. "Ma'am, we just need to ask you a few questions." "I want my lawyer," she screamed. "This is illegal." I stepped forward, calm, measured. "Sergeant," I said, offering my hand. "Ethan Billings. My wife, Lena." He shook it absently, frowning. "We will need a statement from your wife when she is ready." "Of course," I said. But first, a clarification. You are Port Authority, right? He nodded. Good, I said, softly. Because from this line forward, she is standing on my property. Karen laughed. Your property? Who do you think you are? I turned to her, voice steady as the hum of a jet turbine. I own this airport, Miss Julian. Every jet bridge, every square foot of this terminal, every kiosk you bought that coffee from. So yes, my property. Her smile died mid-frame. I looked back at the sergeant. File for assault, trespass, and endangerment. Effective immediately. We will provide all digital evidence and witness statements. The sergeant blinked, realization dawning. The room changed temperature. Karen's phone dipped. For the first time, she had no words. The audience she had built was watching her burn in real time. And for the first time in hours, the world was quiet again. We got home just before dawn. The city was still half asleep, a wash of sodium light and exhaust haze. Lena sat on the couch, her arm wrapped in gauze, eyes fixed on the window. I poured 2 glasses of water and set one beside her. For a few minutes we did not speak. The hum of the refrigerator replaced the hum of the jet engines. Then she said quietly, You are not going to like this. I already knew. She had her tablet open. The video was everywhere. Karen's clip, her version, was on every platform that would host outrage. Cropped, color-corrected, overlaid with somber music and captions about passenger abuse and corporate corruption. The thumbnail was a freeze frame of her face mid-tear, chin tilted down, eyes up, the classic innocent victim shot. The title, Flight from Hell, How I Was Assaulted, at 3,000 feet. It had 500,000 views by the time we finished our water. Lena scrolled silently, the light from the screen painting her face in cold blue. She is good, she murmured. Knows exactly how to play the algorithm. She is not good, I said. She is dangerous. In the comments, thousands of people defended her. Corporate tyranny. Influencers deserve respect too. Boycott the airline. People do not want truth. They want a villain. And she had given them one. Us. The phone buzzed. Uncle Dan. Morning, kids. Hope you are enjoying your newfound fame. His tone was dry, but underneath, I could hear fury coiled tight. He did not waste time. We have been digging into your new friend. You were right, she is not just some loudmouth. She is a professional parasite. Dan laid it out. Karen Julian was not alone. She was the head of a small grifting crew that targeted service industries, airlines, hotels, restaurants. They would stage customer injustice moments, film them, push them online, and rake in free upgrades, vouchers, settlements. It was not random. It was business. They called it consumer advocacy. I called it organized fraud. Dozens of incidents, Dan continued. Every company they hit just paid them off. Cheaper than the PR nightmare. Until now. He paused. You want me to handle this quietly? No, I said. I want it loud. She built her world on spectacle. Let's bury her under it. That is how it started, not revenge. Correction. There is a difference. Revenge is chaos. Correction is order restored. Within an hour, we had a secure line with our legal team, PR, and operations. Lena joined in, wrapped arm and all. On the screen behind us, airport schematics glowed like battle plans. This is not about one passenger, I told them. It is about the system she exploits. She manipulates the public eye. We control infrastructure. She plays with emotion. We deal in precision. Lena added, So we build a trap. Let her script herself into it. And that is exactly what we did. Dan's voice crackled through the conference line. They use a specific booking portal, an influencer-only system with fake perks. My team can plant a bait offer. Discounted first-class seats from Chicago to Miami. That is their playground. They will not resist. I nodded. Perfect. Once they book, we control every variable. Gate, crew, cameras, even the coffee stand. Lena leaned forward, her voice calm but sharp. Make sure the setup mirrors the original flight. Same airline, same tone, same friction. Let her think it is fate. Marcus, our lawyer, hesitated. Ethan, this edges on entrapment. We are not forcing her to do anything, I said. We are just giving her the chance to be exactly who she is, on camera, from every angle. We called it Operation Playback. Every department contributed. Security rewired Gate K-12 with hidden 4K cameras. Maintenance replaced old CCTV with full audio-capable units. The airline staffed the gate with trained personnel who could act. Polite, procedural, unflappable. We even restocked the coffee kiosk with the same brand of overpriced brew Karen had weaponized. A poetic detail, unnecessary, but deeply satisfying. Lena designed the choreography herself. Gate K-12 would be the decoy. When Karen inevitably caused a scene, an automated announcement would redirect her to Gate K-19 on the other side of the concourse. A perfect trigger under stress. Righteous indignation was her favorite costume, and we were about to tailor it to fit. The morning of the sting felt like a mission briefing. The control room at O'Hare glowed with a dozen live feeds. Dan stood beside me, coffee in one hand, radio in the other. They are through security, he reported. All 4 of them. Phone's out. She is vlogging already. Luxury Travel Day, Part 2. You have got to hand it to her. She is consistent. Lena folded her arms. Predictability is the first step toward extinction. We watched the monitors as Karen and her crew strutted through the terminal like they owned it. They cut in line at the coffee stand, barked orders, laughed too loud, the kind of arrogance only a camera could sustain. Then they reached Gate K-12. Showtime. The gate agent, Sarah, a veteran, smiled politely. Welcome to Miami. Karen handed over her phone like a badge of royalty. Seats 2A through 2D. Sarah typed, frowned, then squinted. I am not seeing your reservation here. Did you check in online? Karen's smile vanished. Of course I did. I am Platinum Elite. Her voice rose, echoing through the concourse. Cameras rolled. Her followers were live. Behind her, her accomplices muttered about terrible service and corporate incompetence. Every second was feeding the algorithm. But Sarah, bless her composure, stayed calm. One moment, ma'am. That is when the overhead speaker crackled to life. Final call for Flight 227 to Miami. Now boarding at Gate K-19. Panic flashed across Karen's face, and just like that, she took the bait. She grabbed her bags, hissed at her crew, and bolted. Down the concourse, past the coffee kiosk, sprinting toward K-19. Dan's voice in my ear. Phase 2. Go. I felt the same focus I used to feel before a high-stakes acquisition, the hum before impact. At K-19, our decoy rope barrier was already in place. A sign read, "Crew access only. Please wait for boarding." The gate agent Mike played his part perfectly, fumbled with the computer, apologized for technical issues. Karen's patience, predictably, expired. "This is sabotage," she screamed. Then she ducked under the rope and shoved Mike hard in the chest. "You do not tell me where I can go." That was the cue. 2 security officers stepped in, quiet as shadows. No yelling, no drama, just a calm, controlled stop. "Ma'am, step back." She did not. She screamed louder. Perfect. Meanwhile, downstairs at baggage claim, her 2 accomplices were staging a fight over a decoy suitcase. They shoved, cursed, filmed it from 3 angles. Until 4 plainclothes officers appeared, split them apart, and ended it in 10 seconds flat. Every frame caught on camera. Back upstairs, Karen was still mid-rant when they cuffed her. Her phone dropped, screen still recording her own downfall. The feed caught the officer's voice, calm and professional. "Passenger has breached a secure zone. Detained per protocol." That was the last thing her followers saw before the livestream cut to black. Silence filled the control room. Then Lena exhaled. "It worked," she said softly. I nodded. It worked because she made it work. All we did was hold up a mirror. Every screen showed her face, confusion melting into panic, confidence into collapse. Her empire of outrage had just eaten itself alive. For the first time since that flight, I felt the knot in my chest loosen. Not from vengeance, from clarity. The data was perfect. The angles were clean. And the truth was finally on our side. That night, back at the office, Marcus compiled the footage into one synchronized timeline. Split screen, Karen's gate meltdown on one side, her accomplice's fake fight on the other. Every action time-stamped, every lie caught. By morning, the evidence file was complete. It was titled, Flight of Fancy, the Karen Julian Incident. But this was not over. Not yet. Because when you expose a con, you do not just stop them. You dismantle the entire ecosystem that let them thrive. And that is exactly what we were about to do. By dawn, the footage was already secured in 3 separate encrypted drives, one for legal, one for PR, and one for me. Dan called it insurance. I called it balance. At 6:30 a.m., my phone buzzed with a single message from him. Package delivered. Press will bite by noon. He was not wrong. By lunchtime, number Karen Julian exposed was trending across every major platform. Someone had leaked the footage, perfectly edited, side by side with her original viral victim video. You did not need narration. The images spoke louder than any lawyer ever could. Karen shoving the gate agent, Karen shouting sabotage at staff just doing their jobs, Karen's crew staging a fake fight at baggage claim. Every lie, every smirk, every bit of performance torn apart in real time. Her empire collapsed faster than a bad takeoff. Sponsors dropped her. Her monetization tanked. And the same people who had defended her were now dissecting her hypocrisy in the comments. That is the problem with building fame on outrage. It always turns back on its owner. By mid-afternoon, I was in the boardroom, watching multiple news streams playing the same story on repeat. Every anchor said the same word: scam. Evening talk shows played it for laughs, memes, edits, reaction compilations, and somewhere between the punchlines, the public finally remembered Lena, the real victim, the woman Karen had scalded mid-flight. Lena was not online. She never is. When I showed her the headlines, she just said quietly, "She will do anything to stay relevant. Even burn herself this time." Then she smiled. Faint, but real. That was all I needed. But Karen was not done yet. No parasite ever is. By nightfall, her lawyer released a statement claiming the footage was doctored, that she was the victim of a corporate retaliation campaign. Classic play. Deny. Deflect. Blame. I have seen it 1,000 times in business. When the truth hits, liars do not fall silent. They just scream louder. But I had something louder than screams. Evidence. Real, timestamped, chain of custody certified truth. And we had not even released the final piece yet. The next morning, I walked into the operations wing where Dan and Marcus were already waiting. On the screen, a map of O'Hare. Every red dot was a camera feed. Dan zoomed in on one. Gate K, 19, 8 hours, 14 minutes, and 52 seconds, AM. He hit play. Karen's hand hitting the gate agent's chest, her crew filming. The instant before the cuffs went on. Then Dan clicked to a second feed, the one she did not know existed. A low-angle shot from the ceiling corner. Her whispering to the guy beside her, "Get my good side. Make sure they look guilty." Marcus leaned forward, his lawyer instincts kicking in. Admissible, unedited, perfect clarity. That is intent. I nodded. It is also our hammer. We sent the full file to every major outlet, complete with metadata, timestamps, and sworn affidavits from the security team. No spin, no commentary, just truth. Clean, unfiltered, and undeniable. It hit the airwaves by noon. By 2, her sponsors began issuing statements of immediate termination. By 3, her influencer accounts went dark. By 5, the Department of Consumer Fraud had announced a formal investigation, and by sunset, she had disappeared. Accounts wiped, phones disconnected, vanished like smoke after an explosion. I thought that would be the end, but endings are never that neat. Around 11 p.m., Lena found me in the kitchen, staring at my phone. "You are waiting for her to resurface," she said. "Always," I replied. "She is not the type to admit defeat. She will find a way to spin it." Lena tilted her head. "And when she does?" "Then," I said quietly, "we finish it." That night, I barely slept. Because Dan was right. People like her do not quit. They adapt. And if there is one thing I learned from war rooms and boardrooms alike, it is that the second wave is always worse than the first. It came 3 days later. A fake account appeared on social media under a new name, Truth Unfiltered Now. Same writing style, same tone, same subtle digs. It claimed to reveal the hidden agenda of the airline elite, complete with anonymous sources and leaked documents about my supposed corruption. It was amateur work, desperate, messy, but it gained traction fast. The comments filled up with conspiracy junkies, grifters, and every kind of online arsonist. The algorithm does not care who is right, it only cares who is loud. I could have ignored it, but Lena's name was in there. Her photo, our address, that crossed a line. Within hours, we traced the IP chain. It was not her, not directly, but it was close, one of her old crew members. A man named Ross, former editor, part-time cameraman, full-time opportunist. He had been the one cutting her viral videos, crafting her narratives, and now he was trying to rewrite mine. Dan and I drove to his studio, a rented warehouse downtown that smelled like burnt coffee and desperation, the kind of place where ambition goes to rot. He did not even flinch when we walked in. He just grinned, eyes bloodshot, hands trembling over a laptop. "You here to buy me out?" "Something like that," I said. He leaned back, cocky. "Look, man, nothing personal. She is gone, but the audience is still there. I just give them what they want. Truth, drama, heroes, and villains. You should thank me you are trending again." I stepped closer, slow, calm. "The thing about audiences, Ross, they remember faces, and you are still using the same metadata tags she did. Same upload pattern, same devices. You are sloppy," he smirked. "You cannot touch me. I am a journalist." Dan chuckled. "No, kid. You are a fraudster with a router." Ross froze when Dan tossed a folder onto the table. Copies of invoices, forged contracts, even bank transfers, all signed by him, all tied to Karen's scam. "You have got 2 options," I said quietly. "Confess now, or you will be trending by sunrise, and not in a good way." By morning, Ross was singing like a choir boy. Names, dates, videos, payments, the entire operation laid bare. Turns out, Karen had dozens of fake identities, offshore accounts, even a legal defense fund built from settlement money. But the most important part? She was still in the country, still hiding, and still filming. Ross gave us the address, a rented lake house 3 hours north. He thought we would hand it to the police. He was wrong. Lena tried to talk me out of it. "You have already won," she said. "Why chase her now?" "Because she is not done," I replied. "And as long as she is out there, she will keep burning people." She looked at me for a long time, then said softly, "Then do not do it alone." So, we did not. Dan assembled a small team, private security, legal observers, and one local sheriff who owed him a favor. Everything by the book, everything documented. We arrived at dawn. Fog rolled off the lake like smoke, soft and ghostly. The cabin sat quiet, but the glow from inside said otherwise. She was awake, still filming. Through the window, we saw her face illuminated by a ring light, ranting into the lens. The caption on the live stream read, "The truth they tried to silence." She was unhinged, pale, frantic, half delirious from lack of sleep, reciting the same lies she had built her empire on. Dan whispered, "She is live. One wrong move, and we are the villains again." I nodded. "Not this time." We entered quietly, cameras on, witnesses rolling. She spun around, startled, but did not stop streaming. "Look, they sent goons. They are trying to silence me." I took a step forward, calm, measured. "No, Karen, we are here to save you from yourself." The sheriff stepped in, holding the warrant. "Karen Julian, you are under arrest for fraud, obstruction, and harassment." Her face froze. The live stream did not cut. It kept rolling, broadcasting her collapse to every corner of the internet. She tried to argue, to cry, to spin, but her words tumbled into incoherence. The comments turned brutal. Even her own followers saw it now. The truth unfiltered. When they cuffed her, she looked at me, really looked. And for the first time, I saw fear. Not of me, not of prison, of silence. Because for people like her, silence is death. The ride back was quiet. Dan stared out the window. Lena held my hand. The sun broke through the fog as we crossed the bridge out of town. Somewhere behind us, her ring light flickered out. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt tired. Maybe that is what justice really is. Not fireworks, not applause, just quiet. Back in the city, the story broke. News headlines called it the Great Karen Hoax. Late-night hosts turned it into satire. But I did not watch. I was done watching. For the first time in weeks, I closed my phone and sat beside Lena in the garden. The air was still, and for once, there was nothing left to correct. Justice is supposed to feel clean. That is what they teach you when you are young, that truth burns away the rot, that when the guilty fall, the world exhales. But that morning, as Karen's mugshot filled every news feed in the country, I did not feel clean. I felt hollow. The air outside was gray. Rain pooled along the curb. Lena was in the kitchen, stirring her coffee with her left hand, the burn scars still faint along her right. The sound of the spoon against the cup echoed like static. I poured mine, black and bitter, and sat across from her. She looked up. "You should be proud," she said softly. "I should be," I answered, "but I am not." The fallout had been nuclear. Karen's arrest triggered investigations in 4 states. Her accomplices flipped within days. The FBI raided storage units, froze accounts, subpoenaed emails. They found staged footage libraries, hours of fake scandal content waiting to be edited, script templates labeled Airline Rage, Hotel Betrayal, Restaurant Nightmare. Every one a prepackaged lie ready to go viral. The scale was staggering. They had built an empire out of outrage, a factory that turned deceit into profit, and I had shut it down. Yet all I could think about was the quiet that followed. Lena noticed before I said a word. "You are still in the war room," she said. "Habit," I replied. "It is more than habit," she said. "You do not know how to stop once you start." She was not wrong. Power is not addictive because of control. It is addictive because of order, the illusion that chaos can be managed if you just plan enough moves ahead. But this was not a boardroom. This was real life. And real life does not stay clean, even when you win. Dan called that afternoon. "Congrats," he said. "Feds are crediting you as key evidence provider. We are clear." "Clear?" I repeated. "Yeah. Case closed. You did good." But his tone told me he did not believe it either. We both knew there is no such thing as case closed, not when you have been watching the dark side of human nature too long. He hesitated. "There is one more thing. You should see it for yourself." An email attachment followed. Subject line: The apology. The video opened on Karen, same setting as her arrest, but different tone. No makeup, no lighting. Just her, sitting in a white interrogation room, speaking directly to camera. "They say I lied," she began. "That I hurt people for views. Maybe they are right, but I never meant for it to go that far. The system pushed me there. The hunger for attention, the only currency left that means anything. She paused. Ethan, if you are watching this, you won. I hope it makes you feel safe again. Then she smiled, small, fragile, almost human, because I never will. The screen went black. I did not realize I had been holding my breath until Lena touched my hand. She whispered, "Do not let her live in your head rent-free." I wanted to agree, but something in that video felt off. She was not apologizing. She was performing. Again. Even her guilt had choreography. Marcus confirmed it a few hours later. She uploaded it through an offshore server before the arrest warrant hit. Scheduled post. Manipulative to the end. I nodded slowly. So it was not an apology. It was insurance. Exactly, Marcus said. A bid for sympathy. And it worked. The internet split overnight, half cheering her downfall, half claiming she was a victim of cancel culture. No one ever really loses online. They just change platforms. Weeks passed. The headlines moved on. Karen's story became yesterday's scandal, buried under newer controversies. That is how the machine works. Constant churn, no reflection. But Lena and I could not move on that easily. Every time we walked through an airport, there was a flicker, a whisper of the past, the memory of scalding coffee and a camera lens. Sometimes strangers recognized her. "Hey, we're not you." She would smile politely, shake her head, and keep walking. For her, anonymity had become a kind of peace. For me, it was punishment. One night, I found her sitting on the porch, watching the rain. "You ever wish it never happened?" I asked. She thought for a moment. "No," she said finally. "Because then we would still believe people like her could not exist. Does not that make it worse?" "It makes it real," she said. Then she turned to me, eyes tired but steady. "You built your life on fixing broken systems, Ethan. Maybe it is time to fix yourself." I did not answer, because I did not know how. The next morning, a letter arrived from the Department of Justice. Formal gratitude for service in assisting federal investigations. Polished language, signed in blue ink. It felt like a trophy made of glass, impressive but hollow. That evening, I took it out to the yard and burned it. The paper curled, blackened, vanished into ash. Lena watched from the doorway, did not say a word. She did not have to. We both understood that some victories do not belong on the wall. Later, I went back to work. Airports still ran, planes still took off, people still complained about legroom. The world kept moving, pretending nothing had changed. But I walked slower through terminals now, noticing the faces, tired, frustrated, desperate for validation. Everyone with a camera, everyone performing. And I realized the virus was not Karen. It was all of us. The culture of outrage she had exploited was thriving because we fed it. We loved to watch people burn, as long as we were not the ones on fire. One afternoon, Lena texted me from a layover. Gate 12. There is a woman arguing with the staff. Deja vu. My chest tightened. I called her immediately. She laughed. Relax. Security is handling it. No coffee this time. Then she said something that stuck. You cannot control every storm, Ethan. You just build better runways. I wrote it down later. Not for her, for me. Because she was right. Control is a myth. Grace, though, that is real. A month later, Dan invited us to a small veterans fundraiser. No cameras, no speeches, just quiet people doing good work. Lena hesitated, but came anyway. Halfway through the night, an older woman approached us, shaking slightly. "Mrs. Billings?" she asked. "I just wanted to say thank you. My daughter works gate shifts." What you did, standing up, it reminded her that not everyone in the world is cruel. Lena smiled. "That means more than you know." I just stood there, silent. Because for the first time, I saw what this fight had really meant. Not revenge, not order, but restoration. One person at a time. When we got home, I poured 2 glasses of wine and handed her one. She raised it slightly. "To peace," she said. I hesitated, then added, "and to endings." She smiled. "Not endings," she said. "Landings." We clinked glasses, And for the first time since that flight, I laughed. A real, unforced laugh. Because she was right again. It was not about fighting chaos anymore. It was about touching ground, finally, safely, together. Later that night, as I turned off the lights, I caught a faint reflection in the glass door, the porch light flickering, rain pooling in the driveway. It looked almost like a runway from above, guiding lights home, and I thought, maybe that is all any of us are trying to build. Not control, not perfection, just a safe landing after the turbulence. Time moved differently after everything ended. Days stopped feeling like battles. Nights were not filled with replayed footage or phantom alarms. The world, or maybe just my world, finally slowed down enough to breathe again. Karen was gone. Not in the dramatic sense. She was not dead. She was just erased. The trial had been mercifully short. Her lawyers tried everything. Mental distress, corporate conspiracy, manipulated footage. But evidence does not care about excuses. The jury did not deliberate for long. Guilty, on all counts. 5 years of probation, massive fines, public retraction, and the poetic touch. 200 hours of community service, cleaning the terminal windows at JFK. The same windows she used to pose in front of, chasing reflections of fame. I did not attend the sentencing. Lena did. She said it was not about revenge. It was about closure, watching chaos meet consequence. When she came home, she looked tired but lighter. She did not say a word, Lena said. Not even sorry? She does not know how. Then Lena smiled, faintly, but the judge did. Apparently, the judge had looked Karen right in the eye and said, "You turned everyday decency into a stage. Now you will learn how real work looks from the other side of the glass." That line made the papers. It was perfect. Months passed. The scandal dissolved into digital noise, buried under newer controversies. People forgot her name, but I did not. Not because of her, because of what she had taught me, that the line between order and obsession is razor thin, that you can win a war and still lose your peace. Lena healed, her arm fully recovered. She started volunteering at the Aviation Museum, teaching kids about flight safety and operations. She said it was nice to remind herself that flying was still about wonder, not conflict. I envied that, because for me, airports had stopped being places of possibility. They had become symbols of control, of power, of noise. Until one morning, everything changed again. We were flying to London, first vacation in a long time. No security briefings, no press, no hidden agenda, just us. Walking through the terminal at JFK felt surreal. It looked new somehow, even though I knew every inch of it. The morning light streamed through the glass, bouncing off polished floors, washing the hall in gold. It was quiet, that rare, holy quiet you get right before the first wave of departures. We stopped at a coffee kiosk, same brand, same smell. I ordered 2 blacks. Lena laughed softly. "You still trust that brand?" "I trust gravity," I said. "Everything else is negotiable." And then, as I turned with the cups, I froze. Across the hall, near gate C14, she stood, bright orange safety vest, gray maintenance uniform, hair pulled back, no makeup, no camera. Karen. She was pushing a janitorial cart, slowly, deliberately, wiping down the glass panels that faced the runway. Her movements were mechanical, lifeless. But there was no one filming her now, no audience, no spotlight, only the reflection of herself in the window. For a second, she did not see us. Then she did. Her eyes met mine through the glass. Time stopped. There was no rage in her face, no arrogance, just exhaustion. The look of someone who finally ran out of stories to tell. I did not say a word. Neither did she. But Lena had her own way of closing circles. She walked right up to the glass, coffee in hand, stood just inches from Karen's reflection, and looked out toward the tarmac, as if Karen was not even there. Then She exhaled softly, fogging a small circle on the freshly cleaned glass, a tiny imperfection. Karen's eyes widened, the old fire flickering just for a heartbeat. But she did not move. She could not. Her supervisor stood a few feet away, clipboard in hand. Her prison now was responsibility, and it fit her like a cage. Lena turned, caught my eye, and smiled. "Ready?" she asked. I nodded. We walked away. No words, no grand speech. Just the quiet hum of departure gates, the low thrum of turbines waking up. Behind us, I could still see the faint circle of breath fading on the glass, a tiny ghost of chaos. And for once, I did not feel the need to wipe it clean, because maybe that is what peace really is, not erasing every imperfection, but knowing which ones you can live with. As we boarded, I glanced out the window. The sky was streaked with pale blue and silver, like the world itself was rebooting. Lena rested her head on my shoulder. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, "just thinking." "About her?" "No," I said. "About us. About what it took to land." She smiled, closed her eyes, and whispered, "Then let's fly again." The plane lifted off, smooth and steady. Below, the city shrank to lines and grids, order out of chaos. I watched the coastline curve away, sunlight catching on the ocean like shattered glass. And in that moment, I realized something simple. Every storm ends the same way, not with noise, but with stillness, not with victory, but with release. Karen's war was over, so was mine. The hum of the engines filled the cabin, calm and even. The same sound that once meant tension now meant peace. For the first time in months, I closed my eyes and did not see flames or screens, just horizon. Somewhere far below, at that very moment, a woman in an orange vest wiped away the last trace of fog from a glass wall, and for the briefest second, her reflection looked almost free.